Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by the Family Forest Carbon Program, where we help family forest owners get paid to improve the health of their woods. Happy Mother's Day belated out there. Hope everyone had a great weekend. By the way, celebrate the 38th Annual Armed Forces Day with the Findlay Military Association. It runs May 15th through the 18th at the Hancock County Fairgrounds. Visit FindlayMilitaryShow.org for a full schedule of events. It's sponsored by Ohio Logistics. Well, U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins announced the suspension of live cattle, horse, and bison imports through U.S. ports of entry along the southern border due to the continued and rapid northward spread of New World screwworm in Mexico. Effective immediately, NWS has been recently detected in remote farms with minimal cattle movement as far north as about 700 miles away from the U.S. border. The United States has ordered the suspension of livestock imports through those ports of entry along our southern border after the continued spread of the New World screwworm in Mexico. Secretary in Mexico and the USDA Secretary have worked closely on the NWS response. However, it is my duty to take all steps within my control to protect the livestock industry in the United States from this devastating pest, said Secretary Rollins. The protection of our animals and safety of our nation's food supply is a national security issue of the utmost importance. Once we see increased surveillance and eradication efforts and the positive results of those actions, we remain committed to opening the border for livestock trade. This is not about politics or punishment of Mexico. Rather, it's about food and animal safety. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Another pleasant day to start this week, but we're going to see a little bit of unsettled weather activity trying to come through. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag Weather Update here for your Monday. We're watching a system slowly meander through the deep south. This is a cutoff area of low pressure similar to what we saw right over the top of us early last week. And what that does is it creates a slow-moving circulation where clouds just kind of rotate through. And this one is farther south, but it's going to throw clouds up into Ohio through the day today. I won't even rule out a few hit-and-miss scattered showers near the Ohio River this afternoon, and then spreading across the rest of the state overnight tonight. I think they're relatively light, a few hundredths to maybe 3 or 4 tenths, but they're there, and moisture then tries to come back or linger with the cloud cover through tomorrow and into early Wednesday. As a matter of fact, I don't think we're done with hit-and-miss spit sprinkle action until probably sometime late Wednesday. Thursday is sunny, warm, and southwest flow, but you know what? That's ahead of our next frontal boundary that shows up on Friday. Right now, looking at anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch with showers and thunderstorms there, maybe only 60 to 70% coverage. The rest of the weekend is going to be drier, and then we go into next week. Monday, nothing happening. Tuesday, the 20th into Wednesday, the 21st, a strong front that can give us anywhere from 1/2 to 1.5 inches of rain. That's a look at your forecast update. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in now on potential new uses for corn. Joining me is Wendy Osborne, Director of Market Development for Ohio Corn and Wheat. And you know, Wendy, when we started talking about checkoff dollars at work and farmers investing, we kept talking about all the potential uses where corn could replace other products. Are we making progress in that area? And is there anything that we should talk about in regard to how we can make a difference?
Yes, the United States is the largest producer of corn in the world. So we produce more corn here in the United States than we can consume. So it's important as we continue to feed livestock and increase ethanol production. We also look for new uses for corn, and that's in industrial applications, finding bio-based products to replace our petroleum-based products.
So when you say bio-based, again, a lot of times these are from crops or trees or other grasses and things. But boy, the uniqueness of how corn lines up with the chemistry that's in petroleum is amazing. So some of this has got to be really out of the box thinking, and you've actually got a contest related to that.
Yeah, so the National Corn Growers Association is holding their 5th Consider Corn Challenge, finding new uses for bio-based products. And so again, most people don't realize that petroleum-based products are widely used to make plastics and chemicals, household goods, clothing, all kinds of cosmetics. And so corn can be a substitute for that. And it's, again, one of the most affordable and abundant feedstocks.
So it sounds like the contest is there. Is there enough prize money to get people excited?
We have $300,000 to give to our top 3 winners, and the application is June 30th. So if they go to the NCGA website, they'll find all the application and all the information about the contest.
And again, that's ncga.com. Check it out. The deadline is June 30th. Thanks, Wendy.
Thanks.
The National Association of State Departments of Agriculture congratulates the U.S. and the United Kingdom on releasing a trade agreement that aims to enhance trade relationships and open new market opportunities for both countries. NASDA CEO Ted McKinney said in a statement, "This agreement marks a significant step forward for U.S. farmers and ranchers and United Kingdom agriculture and consumers as well," McKinney said. "We applaud the leadership of both governments in forging a partnership that opens new markets in both countries." In recent years, NASDA played a vital role in helping strengthen U.S. United Kingdom agricultural relations through its international trade missions and export development efforts, in collaboration with USDA's Foreign Agriculture Service and the UK government, notably its embassy in Washington, D.C. NASDA members participated in multiple trade missions to the United Kingdom, facilitating critical connections between U.S. farmers and agricultural businesses and UK markets. Most recently, NASDA hosted a UK delegation traveling to Maine, Arkansas, and Louisiana to learn about U.S. agricultural industry with a focus on forest and wood pellets. NASDA remains committed to helping build relationships and reduce barriers to trade and looks forward to continuing its partnership with the United Kingdom counterparts to ensure mutually agricultural prosperity for both. And new technology could help beef packers achieve more consistent quality grading and deal with ongoing labor issues as well. The use of camera grading in beef processing isn't new, but the actual type of camera being used could make a difference to packers. Upper Iowa Beef Process Control Supervisor Christina Spelcher uses MEQ, Meat Equivalent Quotient technology, to grade beef at a plant, where the general manager looks on to see how it might work for them. This technology could help beef grading be more efficient. Ed Germain, general manager of Upper Iowa Beef in Lime Springs, Iowa, said remote grading could be beneficial as his plant, because of its size, we're currently harvesting 480 head of cattle per day, and investing in the large stationary camera grader isn't feasible for us. He said the remote camera grader would allow us to have more than one person trained to use the technology. It would allow the USDA employees in our plant to be doing other inspections. At the Upper Iowa Beef plant, the Meat Evaluation Quotient equipment is being utilized. This system is currently in approval trials. USDA will continue to run approval trials to be sure the technology can work properly and have a way to audit the accuracy. Quick synopsis would be like, on football when they go back and get the experts to look at the play. Well, this would be the same, basically. They have the technology, an expert gets to look at it, and several other locations at the same day and different hours. And bottom line is, USDA can inspect multiple plants at the same time using a remote camera and remote location. Back with more after this.
Whether you're in the fields or on the farm, creating a safer work environment has never been easier. BWC's safety consulting services are included with your policy premiums and offer training and education for everyone in your farming operation. It's always the right time to make safety a priority. Visit bwc.ohio.gov or call 1-800-644-6292. The Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation, here to help you work safely.
Think biodiesel is just another fuel? Think again. Biodiesel is Ohio innovation on the move. Clean, green, and built to keep diesel engines running strong. It's an engine booster, a soybean supporter, and an environmental champion all in one. Every gallon reduces emissions, strengthens Ohio farms, and powers your ride. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins on Wednesday released a timeline for launching disaster assistance to producers. Ag Secretary Rollins released details on enrollment in disaster aid programs for 2023 and 24 weather losses after a meeting with Governor Jim Pillen in Nebraska. State agriculture officials and farmers and ranchers from 11 states attended the meeting. Under the details released, livestock producers will be able to sign up at the end of May for losses tied to drought and wildfire. Crop producers who suffered income losses in 23 or 24 due to natural disasters are expected to be able to enroll for payments in July if they had crop insurance. However, enrollment will begin in September for farmers who lacked crop insurance or suffered shallow losses. In a news release, the department also sought to contrast the speed of the disaster aid that will come from the Trump administration compared to previous administrations. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information for your soybeans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mixed on Friday. Corn and beans up, wheat down, but plenty of fireworks happening over the weekend, and this may set the stage for a very, very interesting week. First things first, we've got a USDA report that comes out today, noon Eastern time. This is mostly going to be an old crop update on the supply and demand and a first look at the new crop balance sheet. Expectations are leaning toward the bear side in general as we take a look at some of these numbers. The average trade guess on the corn ending stocks for old crop, 1.443 billion, but new crop ending stocks, 2.02 billion. On the beans, we're looking at old crop at 369 million, but new crop burdensome 632 million bushel carryout. That's going to be interesting here. That tells you the expectations are for a very large set of production numbers, so we'll have to work on that again. Trend line is being plugged in with the acreage numbers that came out in the March prospective plantings report. So that's one thing. WASDE, we'll have to look at that closely, but most of those numbers may take a back seat to the announcement of trade deals with China. Treasury Secretary Bessent announced yesterday that the U.S. and China had reached a trade deal with details to be released today. Now, we have seen this before. A deal is imminent but not done, or done but details still need to be ironed out. Yeah, you go through it, but here's what we're hearing right now. Chinese vice premier was representing China. The U.S. trade representative was leading the American delegation. The talks were aimed at addressing the trade war that led to the 145% U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports and China's retaliation of 125%. Right now, officials have indicated that the deal focuses on reducing the significant U.S. trade deficit with China that currently stands at approximately $295 billion. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. We'll take a look at the market numbers after this.
Get ready to start bidding on a massive variety of heavy equipment and vehicles in the Ritchie Brothers Great Lakes Regional Event happening May 14th and 15th. More than 3,700 items will cross the auction block during a one-of-a-kind sale, including everything from truck tractors, van trucks, and trailers to excavators, scrapers, and equipment for construction and landscaping. Registration for this unique unreserved auction is entirely free and open to the public. Visit rbauction.com to learn more. Again, that's rbauction.com.
Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, July corn down a half at $4.49 1/4 cents. December new crop up a half at $4.42 1/2. March is down 1/4 cent at $4.56 3/4. The July beans are up 6 3/4, trading $10.58 1/2. November up 9 1/4 at $10.39 3/4, and January's up 8 1/4 at $10.50 1/4 cent. July wheat down 4 1/2 at $5.17 1/4. September down 4 3/4 at $5.31 3/4. At Friday's close, cattle were mixed. June up 42 at $214.67. August down 42 at $209.57. May lean hogs down 27 at $90.37, while June was up 40 at $97.57. August feeder cattle down 95 cents at $300.30. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everyone. I'm Dale Minyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.